all of us are looking for that next stock that's going to grow, that next stock that's actually going to become a big tech giant. Unfortunately, the major FANG tech giants like Amazon losing 173 billion, Alphabet, Google losing 123 billion, Facebook losing 70 billion in value. All of the major tech giants that we know that you could have bought in 2010 and had phenomenal returns in 2022 are starting to lose their value. Additionally, Nvidia is down at 85 billion from market cap, and Microsoft has lost 189 billion dollars in value. So the question is, are the major tech giants that define the past decade of humanity, of our society, finally turning into stocks that you buy and hold and expect a decent 5 to 10% growth, because at the end of the day, they just can't grow anymore due to companies like Palantir and Tesla being around? Justin, are tech stocks finally becoming value stocks?
I think this is actually a really great topic segue from the last one. I think we just discussed with Palantir and Tesla, the market is bringing these stocks down back to reasonable valuations where you're being properly compensated for the long-term bet. In a similar way, I think that if for a less risk tolerant investor, you're getting the same thing with these big tech stocks. I mean, Tesla is a big tech stock. Microsoft is trading at the same PE ratios as the overall market, even though it's phenomenally a better business. Google is trading at like under 14 times price to earnings, which is a huge discount to everything else. Even though you'd probably rather over the next 2 decades own Google rather than Eli Lilly or JP Morgan. I would rather own Google. Amazon is valued so low now that you're paying fair value for the AWS business and you're getting everything else for free. So yes, now is the time that is starting, maybe not yet, but it's starting to get to the point where the market is now the irrational market is giving you the opportunity to pick the stories that you want to own for the next decade. I've always said this with even Bitcoin. We have actually Bitcoin segment later, so I'll say that for later. But I think you can kind of choose your own adventure. Whatever adventure, some people really like the beach and some people really like the mountains. Go choose your own adventure that speaks to you. And as long as you're right about your adventure, you'll make money as long as you're buying in at the market given good prices.
Tom, do you think the market is finally valuing tech stocks like traditional value stocks over the next decade?
I think what's going on isn't necessarily about tech stocks or value stocks. I think the market is pricing in the horrible macro environment we're in right now, because I think that's the key here. I mean, you can't tell me that Google, Amazon, Facebook, whomever, Nvidia, AMD is worth less than they were a few months ago. They're kind of just gotten better since. In fact, I think it's just the market. If you think about it, we're looking at the perfect storm of this clusterfuckery right now. On the one hand, we have the war in Ukraine, which neither side can afford to lose. So Ukrainians are not going to settle. Putin cannot afford to settle. So that is developing into a long attrition war that drags sanctions, commodity issues, fertilizer prices, gas prices, energy prices, diesel prices. Basically, everything is going through the roof. On the other hand, you have China basically locking down tens of millions of people, slowing down the entire global world trade. And then mainly, and here's where the main problem is that here at home, this is the end of the party. This is the end of the cheap money era. It's gone. So we basically raising interest, we're reducing the amount of liquidity in the market. And even though we understand that this is going to cause a mayhem in the economy, we absolutely know we don't have a choice, because otherwise inflation is going to basically take this economy apart. So what we're paying for right now is the combination of these two, with the third one I mentioned being probably about 80% responsible for this. Is just a natural progression of what happens when you take an addict, because we have become addicts for this free money, and you basically shut down the supply of these narcotics. And basically the market is going through withdrawal. And withdrawal, whether it's drugs or money, it's an ugly process to watch. And this is exactly what's going on right now. So I don't think it has anything to do with the specific tickers you mentioned, but rather the no mas cheapo money-o.
But do you think in the next bull run, Facebook could grow at like 30, 40% like it used to, or do you think those days are over?
What can happen, I think, is one of two things. Again, long term, I don't think there's good catalyst for the market coming up. What can happen? I don't think we'll go back to all-time highs, but I think we might see small to medium rallies if, for whatever reason, they figure out things in Ukraine and that thing resolves itself in a way that's satisfactory for the West. So then we'll see a bull run in the market for sure. There can be other catalysts, like I mentioned before. Look at the greed and fear factor, right? So we're at maximum fear right now. When that happens, there tends to be an opportunity for a little sustained runs. But I think we might see a spike, but nowhere close to what we've seen post-COVID. Because the main problem, which is, I want people to understand this, COVID sent the market down, and then the market spiked back up. We don't have the catalyst that made it happen when COVID happened, which is the supply of money.